Testing 1, 2. All right, we are almost live. All right, so good morning, guys. Donnie Rouse here, and this one is about perspective in life and shifting your perspective to the bigger picture. So, without further ado, let's dive right into it. Hi, guys. My name is Donnie Rouse, and you are listening to the podcast One Life. Zoom out. Do you remember those days where you used to wake up? You used to wake up with this sense of excitement and anticipation for the day and life. You want to get back there, but you can't get past this anxiety, right? This feeling that there's not enough time. You wake up in the morning and you feel like your day has already escaped you. You're showering, trying to run through all the things, making sure you don't forget before you lift out the door, but then all of a sudden it happens again. You forget your coffee on the counter, and all of a sudden the day is going to crumble from there. Before the day's even started, you're already looking forward to its ending. Does this sound familiar to you? This is the kind of scene that happens when you don't pan out, when you don't give yourself the proper perspective on life. You get too focused on the details of your day that you forget the bigger picture. I just came back from a trip to Italy. I was traveling with my sister. We went to 4 cities as well as my father's hometown. We went to Naples, Florence, Venice, and Rome. And this was the first time that I've ever traveled with somebody for an extended period of time. Like the longest I've ever traveled for someone, maybe a few days if someone I met abroad, but I've never actually gone to a destination with somebody with the intention of spending all the time with them. When my sister invited me on her trip to go to Italy, I mean, first of all, I wasn't never going to turn that down. But I was like, yeah, all right, yeah, let's do it. And I was excited about showing her Italy through my eyes. As with many things in travel, if you don't travel the same as your travel companion, things could get kind of a little bit murky very quickly. Let alone, like, sometimes when you're with a sibling, you guys know like your triggers, there's no filter on what you say. So we were traveling, and I noticed that sometimes I would be walking really fast and she'd be lagging behind. In my mind, I'm throwing this fit. I'm like, come on, speed up. Like I want to see the city. I want to zig up and down these streets. But she was in a very different mindset. And this kind of internal frustration would happen from time to time while we were on this trip. And then there would be these moments where it was just so great because we'd be very present and we'd be enjoying each other's company. And I know I'm saying this, and I know from her perspective, it's this very same thing because I travel a certain way and she travels a very different way. So I'm sure she had the same feelings as I was having. So we're going on the trip, and there were a couple moments in that trip where, it's kind of like the branch snapped, and like we would get into an argument, or there was a misunderstanding, and it would create like some tension and make me feel a little bit distant. But then like a joke would happen, and and we would like kind of connect again. So why do I tell you this story? What does the story even mean to what the topic is about zooming out? The zooming out is looking at a different perspective rather than the details that you're stuck in. You tend to focus on what is right in front of you, missing out on the grand picture by panning out. I was stuck in the details. I was looking at these little frustrations, little things that were bothering me. But if I had only panned out a little bit more, and I did this several times, right? I was very conscious of it. When I would pan out and zoom out, all of a sudden the perspective would come. You're like, I'm here with my sister. How awesome is this that I get to spend time with her in Italy? And I could be back in the States, but I'm here in Venice. I'm looking at the canals, watching gondolas go by, sipping espresso. What can be better than that? It's so easy to lose perspective on your day and on your life when you're just focused in on the details. How do you live every single day? When you're going to work, does it always feel like a struggle? Does it always feel like you're waiting for the day to end and it's only begun? Moments like this, I feel it's extremely important to get a perspective shift by experiencing something different. And you know exactly where I'm going with this. Yes, I am talking about travel. Or at the very least, if it's not travel, it's about stepping beyond your boundaries, stepping beyond your comfort zone. So why? What does travel have to do with all this stuff, right? Why does Donnie keep preaching travel? It's more about just living and expanding your perception of life, which is one of the things that travel does for me. But it's about seeing the bigger picture, feeling hope for life. Whenever I travel, a lot of times I've gone to places where there's biases in my mind about the culture I'm about to encounter. But every single time without fail, I go to this place, then all of a sudden my perception is expanded and I realize, well, wow, I really appreciate this culture. And people are not any different than I am. And it gives me this sense of humility, this sense of expanded awareness that I'm one with everybody, one with the world. You don't have to travel to Turkey or anywhere else for that matter to feel that. All you have to do is take a stop in your day and to literally just look at life happening around you and the vastness and grandness of it. If that still eludes you, look up at the stars. I remember hearing the fact that every star is a sun, right? Our sun is a star. Every star is a sun. So potentially, every star has its own solar system. When you look up at that, it's humbling because you're like, oh my God, this universe is so big that you feel so small, but in a good way. Because you realize it's, all the little things that you fuss over day in and day out mean nothing. They mean nothing in the grand picture, right? There was a practice like Tony Robbins would say when I went to one of his seminars. He would say, look, you would look at something and say, all right, well, what you're going through now, how would you feel about it 10 years from now? You probably wouldn't care at all about all the little trivial crap that you worry about day in and day out. You would laugh about it. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I worried about, the flat tire I got. Obviously, I'm going to get a flat tire at some point in my life. Or the fact that you stepped in gum and all of a sudden every time you'd walk, your right foot would be kind of sticking to the ground and just threw your entire day off. Looking back at it, you would laugh, right? You'd be like, oh my God, yeah, I remember. It's satirical. You would laugh about it. So why wait? Why wait to make light of these silly things that happen throughout your day? It's all about getting your perspective to just see the bigger picture of life. I don't believe in waiting to put off life. I believe in doing the things that you want to do now. Because by following that heart, by following the things that you want to do, you are aligning yourself on the path that you were meant to go down. When you resist it, you end up resisting yourself. That's when tension kind of gathers up. So let's rewind, right? Where are you in your day? Do you wake up in the morning and do you feel like anxious that you're already missed out on the day and it's really only 8 o'clock? Or maybe you woke up at 7 o'clock and you feel like the day is already completely booked. The solution is to pan out. So a little exercise, and then I'll close this podcast. Whenever you feel that sensation, whenever you feel like you're, like that you're focusing too much and you catch yourself focusing too much on whatever it is in that moment, and you're feeling anxious, you're feeling all these feelings that don't really feel too comfortable. I want you to imagine yourself telescoping out from your life. And when I say telescoping out, I say imagine yourself seeing where you're sitting and then slowly rising up And as you rise up, you start to get a bigger and bigger picture of everything that's going on around you, right? You start to see, the room that you're in. As you go through the ceiling, you start to see the house. As you expand beyond that, you start to see the neighborhood, the city, the state, the country, and the world. And then pause when you can go as high as you want. If you want, you can extend yourself way out in the universe where you're looking at the world and there's this little blue dot. Go as far out as you need to go. And then pause. Look at the world, right? And then think about that thing that you were worrying about, or the thing that was getting to you that was making you feel stressed. From this perspective, how does it feel? This is you, who you are, and this is true of life. The little things that happen in your day, really, in the grand scheme of things, don't mean a thing. You are grander than that. Nothing that happens your day is going to set you back because you're bigger than your day. So I hope at the very least you'll practice this at least once today. That is your assignment. Practice this exercise at least once. Because I know if you do it, it will give you just a different perspective, and you'll start to look at the things that are more important in life. And you'll start to give less significance to the things that don't really matter. Yeah, work is important. I'm not saying that. But when you give it perspective, you realize, you know what? Yeah, maybe things didn't go right. Or maybe I have to work all night tonight because I have to meet a deadline. But in the grand scheme of things, doesn't mean anything. I hope you enjoy this podcast, guys. I hope that you will take a moment to do the things that will envelop yourself in the life that you want to live, to give yourself the feelings of awe, of excitement. And it comes from stepping outside of that comfort zone. It comes from seeing the bigger picture. That is all I've got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, you can give it a subscribe, ask a question or a comment by visiting my website at www.donnyrouse.com. Again, www.donnyrouse.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you coming in, tuning in, and just giving yourself a new perspective and reminding yourself of the things you want in life, the goals you want, the feelings you want, and what you want to create. Remember, you only get one life. Live it. God bless, and I will see you again soon.